Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another quick video today. So today I'm going to keep it simple, right? I'm going to compare Gemini, ChatGPT and Claude, just asking it a few data analytics and also very general questions to see how different they respond. Okay, so I've just got a few questions here. First of all, I want to ask it to give me a query in SQL to kind of calculate cohorts. Okay, if you don't know cohorts, here you can see it. For instance, it's like this ladder kind of setup, right? So like let's say in April 27 2014, in that week 79 new users came in. Then these numbers mean, okay, after 1 week how much of them came back, after 2 weeks how much of them came back, and so on, right? So it's a way to improve or optimize your retention. There is a way to write SQL code to actually be able to get this. Let us see what these three tools do. Okay, I'm going to start with Gemini and I'm going to give the same prompt in all three. Give me a cohort analysis query using SQL, right? Very general question. Let's see what it's going to give. As you see, it says based on sign up date or purchase date and their behavior over time. So it's taking a customer ID, date trunk of month, and like it's using minimum order date value, and then putting this whole thing into a CTE. And over here it's just I think joining back with the original orders table and then grouping it, right? So as you see here, it's giving an example output. Okay, someone came in order month 1/1/2023, like the first month of 2023. So it's giving some numbers, right? So obviously the cohort month is also the same, the number will be the same number, and then it drops to 80, 60 and so on, right? So what we can see here is a simple with clause followed by a select statement from that and a group. Okay, so let me go and do the same thing in ChatGPT to see what it does. Does it give a more complicated query? So it also says observes user actions over time. So here it's a little more detail, as you see, right? If I go to Gemini, yeah, it said like 3 or 4 columns. Over here it's saying user ID, when they took an action, when they did a sign up, and then what is the action type, right? Was it a login purchase? So just a little more detail. Again, a similar with clause, almost a similar query, but here they also have a second with clause, right? With respect to what activities, whether it's login, purchase or whatever. And they have another one, right? So over here I think they are joining the two, right? So one is called as activity, one is called as cohorts. So they are joining those two in a third CTE, and from that you see it's going more detail and calculating, right? So although it doesn't provide an output, I mean, it's a more complicated query obviously if you directly ask it, but it looks like it's going more in detail, right? I just gave a generic prompt. Looks like ChatGPT is going more in detail and doing these more complex calculations in the end. It's also doing the count of distinct user ID, right? More than understanding the code here, you see the difference in the approach compared to what Gemini was able to do. Here it's also going more like specific activity level. And over here, let me put this in Claude and let's see what it does. So it's giving a basic SQL query. Let's see what it's giving. I think it's a bit slow. Let's try again. Okay, with cohort. Okay, so this is the query, right? So there's one with clause, very similar query like the other two, and based on activity, so it's using some date part function and stuff, and then doing the group by, which is what Gemini did, right, in the second query, like a group by. So it's somewhere in the middle, right? There is two with clause and then the direct combination, whereas ChatGPT I think did an intermediate third CTE as well. So let's say it's somewhere in the middle, and it's also giving some explanation of what it could mean, right? So you see already, right, like just giving a generic statement, the difference it is making in these three tools, right? So maybe ChatGPT was a little more detailed, but of course the query was more complex as well. Let's go and ask very simple, like how to find previous value of percentage change in Python formula, right? Again, a very open question, right? So if you want to compare with the previous value, I'm giving a very vague prompt to see how these tools react, right? So let's start with Gemini again. So previous values, it's giving a very generic old value, new value example, and yeah, I think it's just giving a list, right? So it's comparing 20 to 10 and so on, right? It's very, very generic, right? Now let's go and try this out in ChatGPT. Okay, so it's directly, probably this is what I wanted. Like we know, like lag in SQL, we can use shift in pandas. So it also says there's a function called percentage change. So comparing to previous value, it's forming a data frame and using the shift function. And as you see, right, like 100 to 110, whatever, right, the percentage change is 10%, it's dropping by 5% and so on. So looks like this is kind of what I wanted, right? So it's using the shift formula, whereas Gemini gave a more generic response. Now let me try this in Claude. Okay. Here the problem, as you see, is I think it's considering it as part of the previous query directly, and then trying to combine both. So you see it's giving some formulas like cohort month, but it's also using shift, right? So it was also taking the previous query, but it's using shift, right? Kind of what I wanted, at least. But and then it's calculating, I guess, right, based on the cohorts. But at least it was able to capture the fact that I wanted to use the shift function, right? So you can see it's also somewhat like decent in this response. Now a third one, very general formula again. Excel formula VLookup, right? I expect all the tools to crack this straightforward. It will just give a definition, right? And it's also giving an example, employee data, and then to find the salary, some formula, right? So it's able to give an example here, Gemini. Let's go to ChatGPT. Again, right, use case, it's giving an example, not an example, the formula, the parameters, and the detailed explanation of the parameters, right? Gemini also was able to do that. So I think this is directly fed in. So here also it's very straightforward, right? Because a very straightforward question, and it's well trained on, I think, these Excel formulas. It's also giving some extra stuff about dynamic lookup, which is also possible. So I'm just going to add a new scenario here so that it doesn't confuse with the previous ones. I just put Excel formula VLookup. Okay, and it's a simple formula it is giving, and also detailing the columns that it's considering and stuff. Probably not showing the output of the example, but at least it's giving a formula, what it is doing, and this is something that you can reuse and copy, right? Again, doing a good job. Very straightforward question, I think, for all the three tools. Fourth one, again a very open question. So in digital marketing, what are 3 important KPIs? Let's see how different they respond. Okay, return on investment, right? So it's like the money you make by the cost you spend. Conversion rate, how much percentage of visitors would complete your desired action, like purchase or sign up or whatever. How much money it costs to acquire a new customer acquisition cost, right? So conversion rate, customer acquisition cost, and return on investment. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Conversion rate. So again, it's going to give some detail, I think, and it's also trying to give a formula. And it says whatever, and then customer acquisition cost, again whatever Gemini had said. So total spend by your new customers. Return on investment, right? Again, looks like they're well programmed, very similar way, right? So return on investment, conversion rate, customer acquisition cost, pretty much giving the same thing. Let's see what Claude has to say. Okay, conversion rate, again formula, it's giving return on ad spend, I think closer to return on investment. but it's also like involving other costs as well, I think. But here it's not giving customer acquisition cost, but it's saying customer lifetime value, right? So customer lifetime value is like how much money you expect to make from a customer over their full lifetime. The other two gave customer acquisition cost, maybe one place where it's a little bit different, right? So as you see, very similar, maybe one KPI, Claude is a bit different, right? So I think you could see the difference, right? When we are asking a query, when we are giving vague questions, when we are giving straightforward formulas to tell, and when we ask open questions like this, digital marketing KPIs, how these three tools behave. I hope you enjoyed the video. Try this out, right? If you're learning SQL, Python, you can obviously take help of these tools to see which is more suitable to you. But I think all three do a decent job for sure. Can definitely help you increase your productivity. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you again in another video. Till then, take care.